Abundance didn't just happen to me, I creatively made it happen. But I didn't know how it would happen, and I didn't know how big it would get. My name is Anne-Claire Miret. I wrote this book, Millionaire From The Heart, to tell my story and share my good tips to help you with the ingredients that I found along my journey so that you can create your own recipe and you too become a millionaire from the heart and even more. I didn't live in prosperity my whole life. I had to learn how to create it, and it was not so easy. I was born in a very conventional family, and I learned that money has to come in a very consistent way and secure way, and both my parents were working for the governments in France. I lived in a small town, a simple life, and I didn't have a very easy upbringing. So this story is how I came from this place to today, living in this beautiful home in Bali with my husband and having created the most beautiful life possible. When I was a child and when I was an adolescent, I knew there might be another way to live. But although I remember I was expressing it out loud in my family, and I was kind of rebellious, and I was speaking that there must be other ways to earn money and other ways to experience life, I didn't know how to. And this rebellion I lost when I grew up, and when in my 20s I was just overwhelmed by anxiety and overwhelmed by fears of not finding the right job and living in such a small apartment in Paris. It was just a very difficult chapter of my life. And at that time, I didn't know there was another way to do things. And on the paper, everything looked great, but I didn't feel great inside. I grew up with a lot of anxiety and insomnia. And up to the age of 28, I didn't really do anything efficient about it. I took a lot of drugs. I took sleeping pills and antidepressant and many things that sometimes have worked for a little while and then stopped working. And then at 28, I decided to really do something about it. And I went to a hospital because I didn't want to live like this my whole life. And that specific hospital sent me to a naturopath. And naturopathy changed my life. And after I understood that my days, the way I was living my life during the daytime was conditioning my nights, everything shifted. And I became myself a naturopath, and then my life started to align. And that's just amazing how things happened, because from the moment I've decided to follow that journey of understanding better how I can feel better on a daily basis, how I can get rid of my health problems, and then how I can get rid of my anxiety or manage it, how I can sleep better, how I can feel better inside, then everything started to align outside. And that's why the big turning point for me was discovering natural medicine, because it really helped me understand who I am at my core and how to take care of myself. I really believe that success is accessible to anyone, but if you have something really big that you need to take care of before, it can be a very hard relationship, it can be anxiety, it can be health issues. It is harder because when you're in pain on a daily basis, this is very difficult to focus on your dreams. And what helped me create the beautiful life that I have today, being a successful author of 12 books, and having published numerous online programs and trainings and having made, well, millions now, is my focus. I'm a very consistent person, and this is something I didn't know about myself. And when I started as an entrepreneur, I didn't have any other entrepreneurs around me. I had to learn entrepreneurship, and I actually failed twice. So after I discovered naturopathy, I decided to set up a company because I used to work for dating websites before that. And I decided to continue doing that as a freelancer, and I failed. And then I created another company, a dating website with a bunch of people, and we failed. So I failed 2 companies before I did the third one, which was as a naturopath. And this time I succeeded. I know that a lot of French people are afraid of failing, and I was very much afraid too. But I discovered that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that this is how you discover your resources. And I'm super grateful for the resources I found inside of myself, because I've discovered how consistent I am and how reliable I am and how creative I am. And if I wouldn't have walked down the path of entrepreneurship, I would have never discovered that. I started writing books as I was finishing my naturopathic studies. Something very interesting happened because I wanted to study Ayurveda, and I had found an amazing teacher from Sri Lanka in Paris, and he wanted to write a book, but he didn't know how to, and he didn't have the skills. So I told him, I can help you, let me help you. So we wrote a brief, and I went to find publishers. I didn't know anybody, but I just went full on with my enthusiasm and my passion for natural medicine. And they didn't want that specific book about that topic because it was very much of a niche. And they called me back and they said, hey, you're a naturopath and you know how to write, or at least you have skills and you're willing to try. Why don't you write naturopathy for dummies? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I can do that. Well, I didn't know I could, but I really wanted to try. So I said yes. And I wrote the book in time, and it was great. And then they gave me some books. They ordered me some books, and I suggested some others. And within a few years, I just wrote 7 books. And then I took a little break, and then I started to write some again. So that's how it happened in such a short time. It was amazing. For me, writing is an amazing journey because you have to make sense of what you've learned. And it really helps you break down the information and digest it in order to share it in a very comprehensive way. So it made me really much smarter and much more confident about the words I use. I expected to become a successful writer at the beginning. I expected to sell a lot of books, and it didn't happen. So I had a decent amount of books sold, and Naturopathy for Dummies is a bestseller in the sense of we sold a lot in the French market. But for me, it was not a huge success. I wish we had sold hundreds of thousands of copies in every languages. And when it didn't happen, I was disappointed. And I understood that I had to learn how to talk about this topic and why it was specifically important to me. And here I had to face one of my biggest fears, which was being visible, talking in public. I am very much more of an introvert than an extrovert person, and I was afraid of being seen and being heard and having people asking me questions. And also, I think I was positioning myself on the posture of the expert, and that's not exactly how I see things now. I feel that we're much more like a partner for the people walking on the journey with us, like either as a natural medicine practitioner or as a coach. We're just partnering for a little bit of a journey together. So it's just when you've learned much more than the person that comes for help, you just, with humility, share your knowledge and help them grow and help them shift and change. And it's a blessing to be able to do that. So I shifted my mindset, and I learned how to show a little bit of myself. Just first a little bit like this, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then more. So what happened for me is that I started as a naturopath, one-on-one in a practice in Paris, which I did for a few years. And then I shifted online because I was writing so many books. I was going on trips abroad, and I was just doing my sessions online. And then when I was coming back in Paris, I was doing them in person. And I was also holding workshops and giving speeches and getting more and more out there, slowly, bit by bit. And it worked. I built up a good reputation, and people would come to me and trust me. And then I trained into coaching. And then when COVID hit, I settled in Berlin with my partner, Christian, which is now my husband. And we were together at home, and I was very much fed up with what was happening in the world, and just witnessing the level of propaganda and just the level of brainwashing which was out there in the world was overwhelming for me. And I did a lot of tapping. I love to use EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. I don't know if you know about it. It helps a lot to process the emotions and transmute them. And I've decided to use this energy to create. And this is the year where I really blowed up. Before 2020, I had a decent income, but in 2020, I created amazing programs with all of this energy that was flowing through me. I created first program about reconnecting to your vocation, and then another one about speaking your voice. And I had a lot of one-on-one clients. And this is the year that I spoke my mind on social media big time. And the people who were looking for leaders who were daring to speak their truth then could find me. It was not an easy time, but I have no regret about speaking up because it really helped me find my ground, deep roots into what's right for me, and then blossom big time. And then 2021 was really a great year of success because I started to talk more about abundance and how when you unlock some layers, like for example, I talk a lot about it in the book, Millionaire From The Heart, about what we all have to overcome, which is different layers of resistance, because everybody can do what I did and in their own way and with even bigger success than what I did. But a lot of us have just a lot of resistance. It's just the same thing like creativity, you know, everybody is creative, but some of us, we have a lot of censorship inside. It's like, oh no, you can't say that. You can't do that. No, don't. It's dangerous. So I had to uncover a lot of those truths for me and learn how to shift bit by bit what I was thinking inside about myself, about the world, and also find my power back. And I would like to acknowledge that because of what happened in the world, I had to go back to my power. There was no choice for me. It was a year that I had to do it. And then that year, 2021, I made 600,000 euros. And then the year after, I made 1 million. So it was really exponential and a growth that I would never knew could exist. It just happened because I let it happen by dissolving all the layers of resistance that I had inside of myself. And some qualities that I have that I've discovered is that I show up no matter what. I show up every day, and you can see I've been posting almost every single day for the past, I don't know how many years, but many years now. I've created many new programs every year. I show up. I'm always present. I'm present for the people I train, for my coaches, for my community. I'm consistent and I speak my truth the best that I can. Is it scary? Yeah. It's scary. It's scary, especially at the beginning, but then it becomes less and less scary. And I think there's a lot of feeling of safety to be seen and to be fully acknowledged for who we are. And I've also noticed that my main fears didn't happen. I told myself a lot of stories about the worst that could happen, and that never happened. And also there's a lot of support. When you create something from the heart, you find the right people. I don't believe in hiding what's important to you and keeping everything kind of for yourself and everything. I feel that the more I speak about who I am and what I want to create, the more I find the people who resonates with that and who want to support me on that journey. And today I am surrounded by amazing beings, either in my personal life or in my professional life. And without them, I would not be able to be the woman that I am today, which is super powerful and also vulnerable and also creative and sometimes doubting herself, but most of the time willing to take over the world. And it's because I feel very much like a lot of people have my back and that they believe in me. I receive a lot of questions from young entrepreneurs who compare themselves because they spend a lot of time on social media and they're just beginning and they've just been doing what they do for a few months or a few years, and they compare themselves with people who've been doing what they do for 10 years, 20 years, and they're afraid that because they don't get results, then nothing will ever happen and that they're losing their time. You're never losing your time when you're getting experience from being an entrepreneur. You're always learning. For me, entrepreneurship is just a massive boot camp of personal growth. It's an opportunity to discover who you are and what you got inside of you, and why you do what you do, and just not give up and continuing trying things. It makes you grow so much. And it's not because it's not working right now that it's not going to work in the future, and you must continue trying stuff. I've tried many things. I've launched many programs which were not a success. I wrote many books that actually I didn't sell many, and it's okay because it made me a better coach and it made me a better writer. And because I keep doing it, then one day I think I'm going to have really successful bestsellers, and that I'll have some of my online programs and trainings which are going to be even more successful than what they are right now, because experience is everything. And just the compounding efforts of just crafting your art and sharing more and more of who you are makes you better. Everybody has a unique set of gifts to offer to the world, but you're not special in the sense that you don't have what it takes to succeed. And I used to think that myself, and I was wrong. I was wrong because I had everything to succeed. I think one of the main ingredients for success is to use everything of what you have and stop looking at what you don't have, because this is the journey to failure, to keep looking at what you don't have. I like to give this metaphor that if I try to be a tall blonde with big boobs, I will always be a failure because this is not who I am. But if I just am fully myself, which means short, 157 centimeters, if I'm a short métisse with a pretty smile and sparkly eyes, curly hair, and if I make the most of that, then I can win. And let me tell you, I win every time at the seducing game because I'm not trying to be what I'm not. And this is one of the main lessons I've learned. It's the more you are who you are fully, the more people can find you and actually acknowledge your beauty and everything you have to offer to the world. So you lose less time if you understand that quicker. I often think that this is not me doing. This is life doing through me. It's magic. And I have to acknowledge that there's a lot of humility in this posture. And I used to not like the word discipline. And then I understood that I'm actually a disciple. I'm a disciple to life and to, I don't know, you call it the way you want, God, the universe, the force of nature. And because I want to honor this life that flows through me and to be grateful for the beautiful ideas that visit me, then I show up for them and I just make the space necessary, and I just set myself in motion and take aligned action every single day in order to make things happen. And because I do that, I believe that I'm rewarded. It's like I make one step and then life will make 10 steps and help me. The more I choose to walk that path, the more synchronicities I get, the more help I get, the more support shows up suddenly around me. And then I realized that things are so much greater than I thought they were. It was just a matter of choosing to start the journey and keep going, and especially not have a plan B. And I have a good friend, she's also a coach, and I told her, I think I made it because I didn't have a plan B. And she said, no, you didn't. You had only a plan A, but you didn't know that life had a plan A plus for you, and even maybe A plus plus. And I agree with that, and I didn't expect that. And I'm actually grateful that I didn't know about every step that I would encounter in the future, and still am, because it would have freaked me out. If you would have told me 10 years ago, you're going to become a millionaire, you're going to have a team of 15 people, you're going to write that many books, you're going to live abroad, you're going to do this, you're going to have 2 boyfriends, because I have a husband and a boyfriend, you're going to have to navigate all those challenges in your life, I would not have believed it. I would have needed to have the roadmap of everything, you know, like to just reassure myself. And I think there is an intelligence at play, a reason why we can't see the future. You know, it's too much to process. And we don't have all the skills to process all of this amount of information. And that's okay, because the person that I am today is able to process all of this. But who I was 10 years ago, I couldn't. And I love her so much, the woman that I used to be, because she was already so brave to walk that path. And I'm so grateful she took the steps. One of the main things I've discovered along my journey is that I used to not live aligned to my heart. And I had to learn what it meant for me to be aligned with my heart. And I had to ask myself very important questions, such as, how does it feel to be in my heart? And how does it feel to not be in my heart? And what kind of people help me be in my heart? And what kind of people take me out of it? And how can I do more of what brings me back to my heart and less that what disconnect me from my heart? And I had to fine-tune what was right for me to really understand who I am, and then do the work, meaning understand what are my values and if I'm respecting them on a daily basis, and how to respect them more, and how to speak my truth and my needs, and also dare to have a vision. That's something I've learned along the way too, is stretching my ability to have a vision. And I talk about it in my book, Millionaire From The Heart. A lot of us don't dare to dream big, and actually we all have beautiful dreams which are inside of our hearts, and they've been implanted there for a reason. We are all able to give birth to our visions. It's just that we usually don't trust ourselves. And I had to learn to trust the vision that I had and to make it a reality. So between having a dream and making it a project, there are some stepping stones. And first you have to believe in your vision. You have to make it stronger. You have to feel it in your bones. And then you have to develop a sense of identity which is connected to the person that you want to become. For example, I have a sense of who I want to be in 5 years. And I can fall time by connected to this woman that I know I can be. And if I connect with her, it means she already lives inside of me. I can already invite her ways of being inside of me in the choices that I make every day on a daily basis. And I would say that this is one of the main topic that I'm interested in these days. It's growing the sense of identity inside of me, connected to the person who I truly am, who I truly want to be in the future, and bring her in now. And this is so exciting to do that on a daily basis. I love discovering the versions of me that already know how to accomplish beautiful things. There is only you and me, and I believe in us. And today, when I see some of the problems that we're facing, and I'm going to take one which is easy to relate to, it's the environment. And I'm actually very much involved into recycling the plastic, and especially some plastics which were not recyclable before, and that some very brand new companies have the courage to find solution for. And I've invested a lot of money in there, and I've also invested time to talk about it. I believe that a lot of people like me put their money where their heart are, and we can change the world together. I believe that there are many solutions, and this is our responsibility to just bring them to light and just talk about it and make them mainstream. And the more they're going to be available, the more we'll find solutions for the future. And I used to think that I was small facing the problems of the world, but I'm actually very big, and I'm actually very much able to create solutions and to participate in solutions. And that's what I invite you to research too. Because when you're able to create your abundance and a level of success for yourself, it's not only for yourself. It's never only for yourself. It's for the people around you. It's going to affect your spouse and your kids and your friends and your community, and then the world at large. So it's not only about you. And this is something I like to repeat to my community. It's your success is everybody's success. And you playing small is also impacting everybody. And you not using your unique gifts is actually a loss, not only for your life, but also for others. And the more you show up, the more you will also inspire people that might not tell you, but whose life you're going to affect and help change. For a while, I did everything by myself as an entrepreneur, and it was very much fitting my strong autonomous personality that I had to build in my family, where things were not easy. And then I had to learn that, yes, when I was alone, I could go fast, but when I am surrounded by the right people, we can go far. And this is something I had to learn. This was something that was not natural to me, to trust people and delegate and rely on them. And also to understand that some people have a very unique set of skills that I don't have, or maybe I could have, but this is not my genius zone. And that if I do too much of those tasks, then I'm losing what's really important to me, and I'm losing this enormous vitality that I have when I do what's actually aligned with me. And this is something I had to learn too. And if I have one advice that I could give to anybody actually in their personal or professional life, is delegate. Delegate what you don't like to do. Delegate the things that you're not good at and that drain you. Because the earlier you're going to do that, the more time and energy you will have to do what actually sets your soul on fire. And this is where you're going to make a difference in the world. And this is just amazing how just one simple question can change everything. And this is why I always share questions. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm going to ask you so many questions. And also in my online programs and trainings, it's mostly question-based. And in my book, Millionaire From The Heart, you're going to find so many valuable questions so that you can think differently and you can do the work by yourself. And obviously, when you do the work with a coach, they're going to push you where you don't want to look. And they're going to help you find your blind spots, which is harder to do when you're alone. But already it's a great start. And I like to do the work by myself with books. I love to listen to audiobooks. And I love to do the work by myself with online programs. And I also need coaches. So these days I have two coaches and they help me. I meet them every other week and it's just amazing. It's just mind-blowing what I'm able to discover about myself and how powerful I always discover that I am. I want to finish with a few tips. My first tip would be avoiding creating a distance between where you're at right now and where you want to be. Meaning that when you look at successful people and you think, oh my God, it's so far away, the way they live is so far away than the way I live and who I am today, try to not look at this space between you and them and find the differences between you and them, but first find what makes you similar and find the skills that they have that you also have and that you can also grow inside of you. This is a bit similar as what I said earlier about finding what makes you you and also what makes you strong. And the more you're going to have the curiosity about that, the more it's going to grow. And where you put your focus, your intention, where it's going to blossom. And if you keep looking at the gap and that seemingly inachievable bridge that you wanna cross, the more you look at the bridge as being complicated and just super long and far away, the harder it's going to get. So focus on your uniqueness, focus on what makes you already successful and what you have and what other successful people also have and that they capitalized on. So this is super important. And then second, I would say work on your emotional triggers. Because if you're always reactive emotionally, this is harder to be creative. And for me, this is a true creative journey to build your success with who you are and not copy-paste someone else's success. You have to be a creative person. And you cannot be creative if you're always reactive. So observe your triggers and then acknowledge that there is something which is alive inside of you and then find practices. I love journaling. I love tapping. I love coaching sessions. I love so many things that have helped me along the way to become less reactive and more creative. I also talk about it in my book. I will also be offering in-person events this year in Bali, especially an abundance retreat and a writer's retreat, and I would love to meet you there. I have so much to share about success and about abundance. I believe everybody can create their prosperity on their own terms, whatever it means to them. And that it's not only for a handful of people, and that it's possible for kind-hearted people with good values, and that it's just a matter of really deciding it and showing up every single day to discover your unique gifts and share them with the world. And not only that, but also work on your resistance and on your alignment and really, really move forward towards your dreams, the ones that only you have in your heart. And if you have them, believe that you have the resources to make them happen. Also, I always advise to take coaches. And I've had amazing coaches who've been believing in me more than I believed in me at the beginning. And I thank them for showing me what's possible just by the way they are in the world, but also asking me very important questions. And then lastly, I would say build a relationship with money. Date money, love money, and let money love you. Because money is always around you. And there are so many ways to feel abundant, even before you actually have money on your bank account or in your hands. And this is your responsibility to recreate a relationship with money. If today you don't feel connected to money, you are in charge to create this beautiful relationship. So you can talk to it, you can journal to it, you can date it, you can compliment it, you can apologize to it, and you can just decide to be a great lover of money and to let money love you. Because how does it feel to be wildly abundant? And this is the conclusion of my book. It feels like love, because it feels like a very healthy love. It feels like support. It feels like someone has your back, and that you can spread your wings and that anything is possible. And it truly feels like this when you're in love with the right person. And you can do it. You've got this. And I've got you. If you want more of my tips, follow me on social media. And I also invite you to buy my book, Millionaire From The Heart. It's available in English and in French. And you can find it in audio, in paperback, and Kindle on Amazon. If you've already read it, please put a review on Amazon. I would love to read it. And you can reach out to me on social media. I'm very often available on Instagram. When I reflect on my journey, it's interesting because I always think that it's only the beginning. I'm only starting. And I've only been doing what I do for about 10 years, 12 years, and I'm only 40. So I think I'm ready to conquer the world now. Live from the heart, money will follow.